Welcome back to part 2 of What If Obi-Wan Died With Satine. Thank you to all of you who watched the first part of this video. To recap what happened in the episode in the event you haven't seen it, after the deaths of Obi-Wan and Satine, Maul and Savage had fought Sidious, and before they could be killed, a furious Anakin and Ahsoka had forced an escape. Acting on their anger, they traced a suspicious looking ship, and parting ways to Coruscant's docks, Ahsoka is isolated alone with Count Dooku. The Sith apprentice mocked Anakin's Padawan as yet another failure produced by the Order, hoping that the Jedi would attack him, but Ahsoka angrily circled him and acrobatically flipped down to the streets. Once out of Dooku's range, she quickly alerted her master of the threat of the Sith, and he was soon on his way. By placing a hood over her head to avoid being detected, the Jedi Padawan's heightened senses soon felt a familiar presence, and sidestepped an attack in time. The sneering voice of Asajj Ventress removed her bounty hunting helmet and quizzically asked Ahsoka what she was doing in such a shady location. The Padawan had no time to respond, as Ventress pushed her out of the way of a lightning attack from Dooku, who had managed to catch up, and together they defended from the Sith apprentice. With their defences slipping, Ahsoka and Ventress are suddenly sent back into the wall of a bar by a powerful force push from another figure, the presence of whom had even taken Dooku by surprise. Struggling to get to their feet, Dooku took delight in their suffering and lunged towards them, when he is stopped by the blue blade of Anakin Skywalker. Dooku scoffed at how low Anakin had sunk to, now resorting to protecting Asajj Ventress, but Anakin was in no mood for Dooku's taunts, and having failed to apprehend Maul, he saw Dooku as his chance for revenge. The two old enemies battled each other through the streets of the planet, and once out of their range, the mysterious presence lifted her hood, revealing Barriss Offee. Ahsoka looked shaken at the darkness within her closest Jedi companion, and pleaded for her to see reason, but the Padawan to Luminara Unduli was no longer in line with the views of the Republic, and wished to be the newest member of the Sith. Ventress showed no hesitation in battling the future Sith, and proving to be evenly matched, they are stopped by a Republic gunship from above them, containing a legion of elite clone troopers. Barriss could sense the danger that she was in, and took a speeder from an innocent civilian before rising to Coruscant's surface. Ahsoka and Ventress quickly joined the Republic forces in looking for Dooku, and running through the maze of streets and levels, they find a tiring Dooku. As Anakin pinned the Sith to the floor, he demanded to know what he had been doing in Palpatine's ship, but the Sith looked at him in confusion, then laughed at the Jedi for their blindness, until being cut off by a red lightsaber through his skull. Ventress had completed revenge on her old master, but Anakin had not been pleased, as it had deprived them of the real Sith Master. Ahsoka suggests the Jedi should place their efforts into finding Barriss, but Anakin thought the Jedi were occupied with their investigation into the temple bombing, so ordered Admiral Yularen to blockade the planet and track every single ship that attempted to leave. Leaving Ventress to continue her activity in Coruscant's underworld, the Jedi jumped back into their ships and joined the Republic fleet. Observing every ship that passed by them for many rotations, Barriss had not been present, and they concluded that she must still be on the planet. Whilst Anakin and Ahsoka had been watching the movements of Barriss, those on the surface of the planet had greater concerns. The Jedi Council had received reports from the streets of Coruscant that Dooku had been killed by Ventress, Anakin and Ahsoka, and the Council members were concerned that their Jedi were going down a dangerous path. Windu and Yoda travelled to the Senate building to confirm this report, and the scene was one of utter chaos, with Republic and Separatist senators fighting each other, and Palpatine having to be escorted out of the arena by Mas Amedda and several of his guards. Senator Amidala and Senator Organa guided their pods through the battle, and they revealed that the Separatists had accused the Jedi of trying to manipulate the finances of the Republic by killing one of the main benefactors of the Separatists. Using the Force to return the pods to their original positions, Palpatine soon returned to stabilise the politicians, whilst the Jedi returned to their home. The resident crime scene droid had revealed that the nanodroids that had caused the explosion must have been from one of the temple's workers, and the Jedi quickly conclude that Barriss Offee must have been behind the attack. Deploying Plo Koon and his wolf pack to track her down, the Jedi are concerned about the dark side surrounding Anakin and Ahsoka, and also ask him to mark their locations. The Keldor Master struggled to balance his emotions, for the first time since the death of Tyvoka, and gazing out into the skies of Coruscant, Commander Wolf could see that he was troubled, before he ordered the wolf pack to only focus upon tracking Barriss Offee. Meanwhile, Anakin and Ahsoka had heard about Plo Koon's mission and decided that they should get back to tracking Maul and Savage, as they held the answers that Dooku could not reveal, and travelled to Dathomir to look for the Night Brothers. Approaching the planet, the familiar stench of the dark side crept through them, and embracing it, their true powers would soon be unleashed. That is it for part 2 of What If Obi-Wan Died With Satine. If you'd like to see a part 3 soon, please like this video, turn on that notification bell, click that subscribe button on this channel, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd all like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.